Hey everybody, I'm Tim from Canadian Craft Tours, and today I want to talk about pairing wine and food, specifically pairing wine and chocolate. Now, if you've had a good wine and chocolate pairing, you'll know that it can be sublime. On the other hand, if you've just had a chunk of chocolate with the last sip of the wine in your glass and really had to pucker up and had your eyes watered and you weren't sure of where you were at the time, you know that that can go seriously wrong. So if we want to try some wine and chocolate together, it's important that we apply the principles of good food and wine pairing right from the get-go. So principally, if you're going to match food and wine, it's important that you consider where the wine comes from and match the local food near the vineyards where the wine is grown. Makes perfect sense. If you're drinking a nice white wine or a rosé from the south of France, you want to pair it with that kind of seafood from the coastal areas of France where they have that. If you're having an Argentinian red, you want to try and pair it with perhaps some Argentinian grilled beef, which is very common for that area. Now, unfortunately for us, cacao beans and wine grapes don't grow in the same area. They don't favor the same terroir. The conditions that are good for coca beans, high humidity, constant heat, low variation, are very bad for vines. They get moldy, they get sad, and they don't produce good grapes. So we've got to look a little farther outside the box and look to the principles of good food and wine pairing to see what we can do with our chocolate and our wine. First off, we have to look at tannins. The darker the chocolate, the more tannin it has. If you look at the three chocolates that we've got today, we've got food grade, medical grade, and weapons grade chocolate. 70, 85, and 100% cacao. As you go up in that level, it'll have way more tannin and way less sugar to cover that tannin up. Now, it's going to compete with a red wine. If you go even above 50% cacao, you need to choose a tannic monster of a red wine to match up with it. Because when you pair high tannin with a lower tannin wine, it's going to make it seem wimpy or basically the tannin in the chocolate is going to grab the red wine's skinny little pipe stem arms and start smacking it in the head and saying, "Why do you keep hitting yourself?" It's not going to be a good match. Something sweet and fruity won't work. A good bet would be fortified wine, like a port or a Madeira. That's going to work a lot better. Next up, we have to consider fruitiness. Very high-end chocolate is made from beans that are fermented before they're ground into a paste to produce coca liquor. That fermentation takes the character of the fruit, and the cacao pod is a fruit, and it drives it into the bean, enhancing that wonderful fruity light character. As you get lower in sugar and higher in cacao content, those fruit notes really come up. So you need to think of the chocolate as having both fruit and acidity, because fruits are acidic. Even soft fruits like a mango or something or an apple have high acidity in them. It'll be the same with the chocolate. So you need to match that acidity. And if your chocolate isn't sweet, your wine shouldn't be. You want to have those in harmony. Next up is sweetness. Be very careful when trying to pair wine and chocolate. Some people don't like dark chocolate and they favor milk chocolate. Milk chocolate is universally very, very sweet. Their high sugar content will wipe out the character of a red wine, making its taste sour and kind of thin. Stick to dark chocolate for pairing with wine. Oh, and don't eat white chocolate. It's chocolate's lying about being chocolate. Now, next up, we want to consider weight. If you've got a very strong, heavy, rich, intense chocolate character, you want to make sure you're pairing it with a big, rich, strong, intense wine. So avoid little light varietals like, say, Gamay or Beaujolais or Cool Climate Pinot Noir. They're just going to fall apart and be pushed around by the wine. You're not going to get a good counterpoint at all. So you want to move to a rich red, something like a Mourvèdre, a Petit Syrah, a Shiraz, a Zinfandel, something that's got real stuffing to go up against the chocolate. At the end of the day, though, any kind of chocolate you want to eat with any kind of wine you want to drink, that's good for you. Don't worry about it. Always enjoy your wine. You can only drink so much, so make sure it's the stuff you like to drink, not what some guy on the internet tells you. Hey, I'm Tim from Canadian Craft Tours. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying these videos, please be sure to click on like, subscribe, and the little bell so we can tell you when we've got another one coming out. It really helps us out. Thanks.